the station that leaves no listener behind.
Hello, hello. Happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome to the International Wealth Builders Association radio talk show. I'm your host, LaToya Tillett, live on KCAA Broadcasting Network. I'm a member of the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club and Finest Women in Real Estate. So a little bit about myself. I'm the broker owner of Tillett Realty Group and also CEO of Tax Plus Financial Services. And as you know, this is tax season, so we're right in the thick of things. So anywho, what I do is I specialize in helping my clients to put together diverse portfolios that include commercial, residential, and international properties while maximizing their tax benefits. So today I'm very, very excited to have my special guest in the building. Her name is Brianna Prince. Brianna, please tell us who you are and welcome to the show.
Thank you, LaToya. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yes, so my name is Brianna Prince. Who I am a legacy builder / life insurance consultant.
Okay.
So a little bit about me is, I've been in the life insurance industry now for almost 10 years. So I was a baby when I started.
Yes, yes. Obviously.
I just turned 30, so,
okay.
it's...
Wow.
Yeah,
really?
yeah. So I actually started when I was in college. I started out as an intern working for a gentleman who was a broker.
Okay.
And it's so funny because I think that the people that I worked with back then would actually laugh at the fact that I'm still in the industry. Because, as an intern, I didn't see it, I understood what life insurance was. It just wasn't something that I had ever aspired to do. I really just applied for the job just to look for an internship. That was it.
Okay.
Get some real world experience. I had a few jobs prior to that, but just really getting some experience out there. So then, I ended up staying in the life insurance industry, mostly just because I realized how important it was, and there was a huge need for it.
Okay.
So after a while, there was a question that I used to ask people all the time. Well, why are you looking for life insurance? That was a question I always asked, and I still ask to this day.
That's a good question. I haven't been asked that one.
Yeah. I like to know, because what makes someone all of a sudden decide, let me request for some life insurance information.
Right.
And so then it got to a point where I was like, you know what? Because I would hear people's stories on why they're requesting life insurance, and I could talk about that all day. But, it was usually because someone that they knew or a family member passed away unexpectedly, that sort of thing. And so it just became something that I realized how important it was. And then I was like, I want to help. And so that's how I got into the industry.
That's beautiful. That's amazing that you got in, and especially you got in so young. You got in at an age where most people, the last thing they're thinking about is life insurance or selling life insurance.
I wasn't even thinking about it at that time either.
Right. But sometimes we grow into our niches, as I would say. You kind of have an idea of what it is you want to do. Like, I always grew up like, I'm going to be a background dancer for Janet Jackson.
Oh.
Not realizing just how old she'd be when I became an adult.
Right.
But, she's still touring and everything, so, the dream isn't
She's
dead.
Fantastic, man.
Yes, amazing. Definitely going to see her this year.
Yeah.
Janet. Okay, anyway. So, then sometimes you just kind of grow into new careers when you start working and, checking different things out, and then you kind of grow into a space that you're not necessarily, necessarily wasn't on your vision plan.
Right. Definitely not. Yes.
But you kind of grow into it, and then you like it. And
yeah.
then you like to serve the people. So that is amazing to hear.
Yeah. Definitely. I always knew I liked to help people. So this was my way of, I guess, doing that. And it's been fantastic. I love it. I love doing it.
That's awesome. I like helping people too. It's like, okay, let's save some money on these taxes though. That's what I really, really like to do. Helping people just really see the opportunities and options that they have.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Taxes is a huge one.
Yes,
sure.
it is.
And there's so many little different things within taxes that, I've been self-employed now for almost 10 years, and I still don't understand. That's what I pay my tax man for.
Exactly. That's what you do. You get you a good tax preparer out there, and an enrolled agent or a CPA that actually knows taxes. Because I know everybody thinks, I just go to my CPA. But if your CPA doesn't specifically specialize in taxation, You know, you may not be saving as much money on your taxes as you thought. Sorry, put that out there. But just so everybody knows. And so, anyway, so I'm looking at the name of your company. So it's called True Leg.
True Leg.
Why
yes.
did you choose that name?
That is a fantastic
I like to
question.
know the background and so what goes into a name, because it means something to you.
It
obviously.
does. It does, and it means a lot to me. So True Leg. When I was finally getting to a point where I'm like, I want to actually grow this business. So part of that was first, what is my name gonna be?
Right.
You know, and so I'm like, what I ended up thinking about, well, what's important to me? Trust and integrity is really huge for me.
Okay.
So because at the end of the day, in my opinion, the only thing that you can really trust a person off of is their character.
True.
And so my integrity is something that I don't compromise on, just because it's a representation of who I am, and I can't compromise that.
Right.
And so it came up with, so then I came up with the word trust.
Okay.
You know, I'm like, trust. And then life insurance. Life insurance is a legacy that you leave behind for your family. And then, you know, I just kept playing around with that idea. Those were the two words that I really liked with legacy, because legacy means so many different things. At the end of the day, whether you want to recognize it or not, we all have an expiration date, you know, and the question is, and we all leave a legacy behind. The question is, what legacy are you leaving behind?
Right.
So I had a lady who requested for life insurance, and again, I asked her, this was 2016, and of course I asked her that question that I always ask everyone: what made you decide to get life insurance?
Right.
And she told me because her mom had passed away unexpectedly, leaving her and her dad with a lot of debt. And for her, it was like, I'm not leaving my family like this. There's no way.
Yeah.
And she ended up making the comment that now whenever she thinks of her mom, that hardship she went through is the first thought in her head. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is terrible. That is absolutely terrible. And I know it's not something that we like to talk about. Come on, of course not.
Of course.
But at the end of the day.
But it's real.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, anyway, so true legacy was the thing the two words that I came up with, and then just combined the two words to come up with True Leg.
Nice. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting concept. That's actually how I put my first child. I put his name together like that.
What's his name?
Tyren.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I wrote my name down, wrote my husband's name down, and crossed out letters until I made a name that made sense to me.
That's awesome. What did your husband say?
Renette. His name is Renette. So,
okay.
You know, like Tyren, so the TY from me and the REN from my
And
husband.
when you came up with the name, what did he say?
He was cool with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So it worked out well.
Yeah. Good for you guys.
Awesome. So I am really loving the name, and now that I know the meaning behind it, you know, it makes it, you know, hit home a little bit more.
I feel like it makes sense, you know, once when there's an explanation behind it, because otherwise you're like, what the heck is True Leg? What does that even mean?
Right. That's why I'm like, I wanted to ask. I'm like, hey, how did you come up with True Leg?
Right.
You know, why was that the choice that you went with? And so now we know, because you're putting the trust and the legacy together.
Yep.
Okay. And I think that's an important piece, too, that goes with strategic planning. Anyone who's getting into, even just for your own families, but even if you're getting to investing and things like that, you definitely want to have a strategic plan where you know what's going to happen with everything. And having a life insurance policy, we'll talk a little bit more about the products that you do offer. But I know there are certain products out there that protect your mortgage.
Yep.
So, you know, you have kids in the house still, and you pass on. You know, what's going to happen? How they're going to pay the mortgage if they're not used to paying it before and everything. So definitely, you know, whenever you're putting together your strategic plan, you know, all the millionaires do it. Everyone, they have key man life insurance policies within their businesses. You know, they have certain protections for their assets and everything. So it's definitely a necessary conversation to have. Because you always want to think with the end game in mind.
Yep, absolutely.
And so, you know, what's going to happen when I'm not here? What's going to happen if you know, I'm laid up in the hospital and I can't, you know, do anything for a couple of weeks or a couple months or a couple of years even. Yeah. You know, and that's a lot of things that people do not tend to think about.
Some people choose to ignore it too. You know, I don't know what it is, but from my experience, I find it more common among men who just don't want to have that conversation.
Wow.
And like, there's this client of mine. I've known her now for about 6 years. That's when I first helped her get her policy. So we got a policy on her. And the intent was to get a policy for her husband.
Right.
Her husband wasn't having it.
And
Mind
like,
you,
no.
her husband's 20 years older than her.
Oh.
He's now 79,
Okay.
and she's 20 years younger, so she's 59.
59.
Actually, she just turned 60, I think.
Oh, okay, great.
So, yeah, you know, and I'm like, this is what I was saying earlier about,
Right.
well, we had our own conversation before this, but,
Right.
you know, I love numbers. Numbers, facts, and statistics are huge, in my opinion.
Yes, very important.
Yeah, because I feel like it tells a good story. So with this gentleman in particular, he, you know, again, it was about 6 years ago, or 5 to 6 years ago, when we got his wife's policy. And then, you know, when I first met with him, because I met with them separately, because that's just how it worked out. And he was like, well, I don't want to worry about it.
Right.
And his wife was literally crying to me, legit, just
Wow.
literally crying. Like when he's not there, by the way.
Okay.
She's crying to me, just saying, if something happens to him, I have nothing, because she didn't work. She stayed at home and everything. And, you know, the reason why they have everything is because of him. So
Right.
she recognized, number one, if he passed away, she loses her income. And she has no idea what's going to happen to her financially, and she's not going to even be able to bury him. And so that was her concern. And, you know, I brought that up to him and everything, but he is literally the most stubborn man I have ever met.
Gosh.
But at the end of the day, it really impacts her so much. And I get so scared whenever I get a phone call from her,
Oh my
because I just get
gosh.
nervous. And I know I shouldn't, but I
That's
do, because I know
scary.
he's at a point now, he's 79, he'll be 80 this year. He's already at life expectancy, statistically speaking, right?
Okay,
So
gotcha.
it's like, the good thing is he's still healthy.
Well, that's good.
Get it together, though, because life happens.
Life does happen.
I don't know
even
how else
to
to
the
say
healthy
it. Life
ones.
happens,
It
and
does.
unfortunately, his wife, is going to be the one to have to deal with it. And you know, actually, girl, I can go on all day. I'm dead
Yes.
serious, telling different stories.
Oh my goodness.
There
Well,
was
that's good. But yeah, that's what we need. We need real life examples, because you never know who you're going to touch.
Well, yeah, you know, there was another lady that I had spoke to. This was 2018. So this lady, she was reaching out for life insurance information. Actually, I found her. Well, she found me through Facebook.
Okay.
And I came over to her house to sit with her and everything, and she ended up mentioning how her husband had passed away. This was probably like in May of 2018.
Okay.
Her husband had passed away December of 2017.
Oh, wow.
So she wanted to, we were just talking, you know, and we had a conversation about how her husband had passed away.
Okay.
He, you know, life insurance was not, she wanted to get life insurance back in 99 when
Wow.
he had his first heart attack, but he was like, no, he didn't want to talk about it.
Wow.
And so it was a subject that was never talked about. But then when he passed away, she lost her home.
Wow.
She lost her income. She ended up moving in with her kids, you know, which, you know, isn't always a bad thing, you know,
Not
but, you know,
always.
just that it caused stress.
The ripple effect.
Yes, you know, and so, yeah, anyway, she didn't even have money to bury him and stuff, so she had to rely on family, friends, and that sort of thing, unfortunately. But, you know, the good thing is she made it through it,
Right.
of course, so that's what matters. But, again, even for her, she was like, I'm not, my kids aren't going through this again.
Right.
They already went through it with their dad. They're not going to go through it again with when the time does come for her, you know?
Yes, that's definitely smart thinking on her behalf. But what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and touch on some more life insurance topics and some different products. We'll get into some more different products that Brianna has to offer. So we'll see you guys in about 2 minutes.
FireUp Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing, and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Real men of real estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Boats, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Basically, go to the radio station KCAAradio.com.
You can find us on your dial at 102.3 FM, 1050 AM, as well as 106.5 FM.
Are you a real estate investor looking for a new opportunity in one of the top tourist destinations in the world? Look no further. Welcome to Punta Cana. Perla Bahia is a private resort-style community in Punta Cana that consists of modern condos, custom villas, and various commercial amenities. So if you're interested in learning more or joining us on one of our monthly investment tours, don't hesitate to contact me today at 909-494-2280. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the International Wealth Builders Association radio talk show on KCAA Broadcasting Network. I'm your host, Latoya Tillett, and I'm here today with Brianna Prince, founder of True Leg. And so is that called True Leg Insurance Company, or it's just True Leg?
Just True Leg.
Okay, I'm here with the founder of True Leg, and she offers insurance products and asset protections that can help you out, as you're planning your investment strategies or just your family planning, deciding on what's going to happen in the event of an untimely death or something in, your family. So not trying to depress you guys out here. These are real conversations that we need to be having because a lot of us do not have these conversations. And it's unfortunate, at the end when you're not able to bury a loved one or you're having to borrow money or do car washes when, you could have saved yourself by having a policy and a way to protect your yourself and your assets. So, Brianna, before we left, you were telling us some interesting stories with some different clientele that you have.
Right.
So, what type of products do you offer exactly?
Yeah, so with life insurance, you have the two main types of life insurance is term life and whole life insurance. And then we have different concepts, mortgage protection, final expense. So those are pretty much the main ones that we look into.
Okay.
It's just a matter, the most important thing is finding out what someone's looking for or, asking questions. So I love to ask questions to find out where the need is.
Oh, okay. Great. So with the mortgage protection, is that only for like a primary residence?
So mortgage protection, so keep in mind, a lot of these are concepts, so
Okay.
a lot of times people think there's actually a difference between mortgage protection and life insurance.
Okay, but there's not.
No, now don't get me wrong, there's definitely some companies that, actually tie it to the mortgage, but the majority of the time, no, it's just life insurance. For example, let's say, you have a 30-year mortgage, so you want to get a life insurance policy that's going to cover you for 30 years.
Okay.
If your mortgage is for $500,000, you get a $500,000 policy that's going to last you for 30 years. So basically, essentially doing the same thing. But the way the policy works is even if you were to, let's say you get that policy as soon as you get your mortgage, and then something happens 20 years from now. Well, of course, your mortgage is probably not going to still be at $500,000, but that's the amount that would go to your beneficiary, whoever you have.
Okay.
So the money actually goes directly to your beneficiary, not the lender, which is a good thing.
Nice. I like that.
So they can actually take that money, pay off the mortgage, and then whatever's left over, they have free reign to do whatever they want with it.
Okay. So you hear that? You get mortgage protection to protect your personal family home. Now, how does it work if someone invests? Can they do mortgage protection on their investments, or is it only for their single family or their primary residence?
So again, it's not tied to the mortgage.
Okay.
So yes, absolutely everybody could get it. The goal or what you have to figure out is what it's actually being used for.
Right.
And the cool thing too, a lot of people don't know, and this is with mortgage protection, without mortgage protection, but since we're talking about mortgage protection,
Right.
I'll kind of focus more on that.
Okay.
But there's a product out there called a returner premium. So it's a term life insurance policy, but it's a rider that comes on the policy.
Oh,
so
okay.
basically, the way it works is it gives you all your money back after your term period, right? So for example,
Really?
So using that example that I was using earlier, a $500,000 policy for 30 years.
Okay.
So most people know about traditional term life insurance. You know, you pay the premiums every single year.
Yes.
You know, until it expires, you know.
Right.
So on a 30-year, it'll last you for 30 years. And then at the end of 30 years, it expires, it terminates, right?
Right.
So with the return of premium, after 30 years, the policy does expire, but it gives you all your money back. So you don't lose anything. I like to see it as a win-win. And a lot of people love that product because, you know, I love statistics.
Yes. Okay. Give us
And
the
so
stats.
I got my first return of premium policy. I think I was 24 or 25 when I got it. I think I was 24. Anyway, I'm like, okay, well, statistically speaking,
Right.
in 30 years, I'll be 54. In other words, statistically speaking, I'll
Right.
still be living.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
obviously, life is unpredictable. Who knows? You know, something can happen before
Of
then. But
course.
statistically speaking, I'm still going to be here.
Okay.
So with that being said, I'm like, well, I'm not going to throw away money like that. You know, I'm not married. I don't have kids. So,
Okay,
you know, I
okay.
mostly got my life insurance, my return of premium policy for the savings component. It was a way for me to
Okay.
force myself to save every single month. And then at the end of the 30 years, I'm going to get all the money back anyway.
Right.
Now, with the company that I have my policy with, they actually do two different things that I love.
Oh,
So-
okay. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So they have two options. So originally I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to get all my money back after the 30 years, which I still might do. I don't know. I kind of jump between it, but I've kind of changed to their other option where the other option is to let the insurance company keep the money and then they'll give me a reduced paid up life insurance policy. So basically for
Okay.
that policy, I pay $100 a month for it. So it's not much. It's $100 a month. And after 30 years, you know, that's $36,000. So I can either get a check
True.
for the $36,000 or tell them, hey, keep that $36,000 and that'll buy me $18,000 of life insurance.
Wow.
Paid up life insurance. So I don't have to ever pay into it again. It's paid up, you know, whenever I pass away, you know, my family just claims it.
Okay.
It's
okay.
great. It's fantastic.
That's an interesting product. That's one
Yeah.
I haven't really heard of.
Yeah, most people, you know, it surprises me because I think that the whole aspect of return of premium is really great. Now, of course, you have some people who say, well, aren't you better off just investing that money because you do pay a little bit more for it?
Right.
Aren't you better off just investing the money? Maybe. You know, and I think
But that is an investment.
I mean, it's
per
a
se.
saving. It's
Yeah,
a savings
it's a
component.
saving component.
It's a savings component
Right.
because you're not getting any kind of interest off of it or
Yeah.
anything. People love to say, "Oh, you can just put that money or invest it in something or whatever," and it's
Where
like,
it'll grow more for you.
you know, right. But here's the problem: it's a great idea in theory, but
Right.
how many people actually do it?
Like,
I mean,
less
a
than
ver-
1%.
Yes,
probably.
exactly, and that's the problem. At least this way, because I don't even think twice about it.
Right.
So over the past 6 years or so, I've been saving this money, and I don't think twice about it because it's not like I'm physically having to, you know, take the money and put it away or anything. No,
Right.
I turned it into a policy, and then great thing is, if I die, there's a death benefit attached
There's
to
a
it. So
death
it's a
benefit.
win-win.
Right.
I'm good if I die because then my family gets a death benefit, but if I don't, then I get all my money back, which is what I expect anyway.
Right.
So
right,
it's so sometimes, especially with young people, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna die. I'm so young. I don't need
Right.
life insurance. Okay, well, yeah, but I'm 30 years old. I have known so many people to pass away, and it's from different things. It's
Right.
been car accidents, aneurysms, cancer, just unknown reasons. You know,
Yeah.
it's just a part of life, and so to not be prepared, especially when you have a family.
Yes. Especially when you have a family.
Yeah, you definitely, and especially because life insurance is not as expensive as people think. It's not at
Right,
all.
right.
So even like,
I know that's usually one of the first bills to go. You know, it's like when people
Yeah,
start falling on hard
unfortunately.
times, they're
You
like,
know,
oh,
again-
we don't need this life insurance policy. Save that $30-$40 a month. You know,
Yeah.
but that's the one you should keep.
yeah, absolutely, because you know, and this is a perfect example. Literally just a couple months ago, I met up with one of my colleagues, and he was telling me how, actually, I was there when he got a phone call that one of his clients had passed away.
Oh my gosh.
But that the thing that was interesting about that is that a couple months prior to that, the wife called in to cancel the policy.
Whoa.
Literally a couple months before he passed away. Wow. They had no idea.
Really?
And unfortunately, you know,
now you don't have.
There's nothing that could be done. Yeah.
Wow.
And so, you know, she was upset. She ended up saying, "Oh no, I never called in," but they're all calls are recorded, you know.
Yeah.
Then when you cancel a policy with an insurance company, they definitely do their job to make sure that, you know, because you run into instances where people say stuff like that.
Right.
And I get it. I do get it, because, you know, you were paying it for years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you canceled it a couple months. If only you would have known, you would have kept that policy.
Of course.
Goodness. And I felt so bad for her. Oh, I felt so bad.
Very, very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
We had a similar situation like that with my dad.
No
he
way.
had life insurance, and he had prepared it the night before because it had lapsed, and so he was reinstating it. He filled out the paperwork and everything, and he literally died the next morning.
No way.
Yeah.
See,
just suddenly.
You know what, Latoya? I hear stories literally all the time, and it's those stories that you would say, "Oh, that's never going to happen to me." Yet it happens every day to people. It's crazy. It's so crazy. And again, this is how
unpredictable.
It is, absolutely. And this is how I got so interested in staying involved in the life insurance industry and actually wanting to help people, because it's like I realize how important it is, and I'm just like, I don't believe in waiting anymore. It's gotten to a point where, with all these stories and my experience in being in the industry, I'm like, look, before you go to the doctor, make sure you have your life insurance
life insurance policy first.
Just because, like, you know, there was a lady. So back in 2019, I started going out to Vegas and working out in our office out there a lot.
Okay.
I was in Vegas literally every month. I would spend a week in Vegas, just working in that area, not doing the whole typical Vegas stuff.
Of course,
people would laugh at me.
We do go to Vegas to work. I've gone to Vegas to work before too.
Yeah,
so
people
I
were like, "Oh, did you go to the casino? No. Did you go clubbing? No, I was working.
I was working.
Yeah, but anyway, I had met a lady, so I was helping out our office out there. And they just had a lot of appointments and not enough agents. I was going out there back then. And so I ended up meeting, so one of the guys he had double booked himself and he didn't realize, so I ended up taking over that meeting. And when I went to meet with the lady, you know, I already had all her health information, right? And so I'm meeting with her and I'm reviewing everything to make sure. And she's like, "Okay, well, something did change." I'm like, okay. And she was like, "Well, the reason why I couldn't meet with your guy yesterday is because I had a doctor's appointment." She ended up finding out at that doctor's appointment that she had cancer.
Oh my God!
I was like, I was so mad, man.
Oh,
I'm like,
because then, the policy.
Yeah, because obviously now she has to answer yes to the fact that she has cancer, and she currently has it. Unfortunately, an insurance company is not going to take on that risk because you currently have the cancer. Now, there are companies that will offer coverage, but what they'll do is they'll put on a 2-year wait period on the policy. So you have to outlive that 2 years for the policy. So which is great. It's great in those situations. But man, if only she had got that policy the day before.
The day before she went to the doctor.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, she could have been
I
in
was
there.
so mad.
Oh my goodness.
Gosh, I was so mad. But
Well,
I've heard that stuff quite a few times, so yeah.
Wow, that's so crazy. So you guys hear how important it is to not wait until the last minute. Go ahead and get that life insurance policy started. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and I will see you guys in about 2 minutes.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Real men of real estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Boats, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Basically, go to the radio station KCAA radio.com.
You can find us on your dial at 102.3 FM, 1050 AM, as well as 106.5 FM.
Are you a real estate investor looking for a new opportunity in one of the top tourist destinations in the world? Look no further. Welcome to Punta Cana. Perla Bahia is a private resort-style community in Punta Cana that consists of modern condos, custom villas, and various commercial amenities. So if you're interested in learning more or joining us on one of our monthly investment tours, don't hesitate to contact me today at 909-494-2280. Hey, welcome back to the International Wealth Builders Association radio talk show. I'm your host, LaToya Tillett on KCAA Broadcasting Network, or Broadcasting Radio. I am here with my special guest, Brianna Prince, the founder of True Leg. So she's here telling us all about life insurance and creating legacies and, you know, just having a way to protect ourselves and our assets as well as our families in the event of, you know, an unfortunate situation, you know, an untimely death or, you know, a death that comes naturally or however it happens. You definitely want to be prepared in any scenario. So, Brianna.
Absolutely.
What's next for you?
What's next? So right now, I'm actually focusing on building my agency.
Nice.
So what that's going to look like essentially is getting a whole team together to help grow this business.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's going to, you know, that's primarily what I'm focusing on right now. So getting other agents to partner with me. I'm actually working with a new IMO, but you know, you most people don't understand that term unless you're in the industry.
Heard of it.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
like,
that's
I heard
surprising. Okay, great.
Yes.
Yeah, so just working on building my agency. Yeah, so that way we can impact more people. Because one thing that I've learned is that there's a huge lack of education within the life insurance industry. I would say probably over 95% of people that I meet with don't know what they have. Yeah, and that can be problematic.
Yeah,
when you don't know what you have.
That is true. That is true. So what types of what other kind of products do you offer? We talked about the mortgage protection. You touched on term. Are there any other fun ones out there? Like I've been hearing about this universal whole life policy.
Yes. So those are two different types of policies. You have universal life insurance, or the big one that I'm pretty confident you're talking about is called an index universal life, or in other words, an IUL. Okay. And then also a whole life policy. Okay. So to keep things as simple as possible, the original, like I mentioned earlier, there's two main types. You have term life insurance and then whole life. Okay. If ever you get confused between the term is temporary, whole life is for your whole life.
Whole life. Okay, gotcha. Just like I said. Okay.
Exactly. You know, it's funny. So I like to keep it simple that way, so that's easy to understand. Right. But with IULs versus whole life, they're both what you call permanent life insurance policies. But you know, I tell people, make sure you do your research. Just because I heard about IULs probably, I think that was 2016 when I first heard about it. Okay. Of course, like I said, whole life policies are the original ones, so those ones have been around forever. Right. You know. Right. So the whole idea with the whole life policy is for it to last you for the rest of your life. It builds up cash value. So basically, as you're paying on your monthly premiums or annual premiums, a percentage of that goes to your cash value, and it builds up over time. Okay. So that's with the traditional whole life policy. With an IUL, the greatest thing with a traditional universal life, let's start there, is that it offers a lot of flexibility. Okay. Now that flexibility, in my opinion, also is its greatest downfall in those policies. Just because, and I say that because with IULs, the huge difference between that and whole life is the fact that with whole life, you have all guarantees. With IULs, you don't have those guarantees. So what it is that they use the performance of an index like S&P 500 to credit the policy. Okay. So it's not like your money is directly invested in the policy, but it uses it as a watermark for the policy. And with an IUL, the cost of insurance goes up every single year. Basically, what it is that
Really?
it does. You don't know that because it's built into the policy.
Oh, gotcha.
But the cost of insurance goes up every year. So basically, it's like buying what's called an annual renewable term, which means that every single year the term period renews. So within your policy, it's buying like, let's say, for example, I'm 30. Let's say I take out an IUL right now. So, and assuming that my IUL, I'm just going to use easy numbers and say $100,000.
Okay.
So if it's a $100,000 policy, then it's crediting as if the cost of insurance is going to be for $100,000 for a 30-year-old female. That's what it's crediting.
Okay.
So let's say that's going to cost $50 a month. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just using
easy numbers. Yes.
Now next year I'm 31. So now my policy, and it's still $100,000. So now instead of paying $50, now it's $53.
Oh.
The next year I'm 32, and so it goes up every single year. On a whole life policy, it takes the average cost or average life expectancy and divides it, and so it's always consistent. It never changes.
Okay.
That's why
so it's like a
life,
fixed term, like kind of like a fixed mortgage.
Yeah, I guess you could see it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
So with that being said, you have those guarantees and it's automatically factored in. You don't have those fluctuations that exist within there.
Right.
So it is a bit of a complex level if you're talking about like the infinite banking concept. And I know that's a huge thing. And I know that's probably what you're talking about right now.
I thought about that one too. Yes.
Yeah. So I like facts, right? You know,
of course.
I say that. I've been saying that all day because it's true. I like facts. Number one, with an IUL, the way it's structured, same thing. If you structure the whole life, it can be structured essentially the same, but they work very differently.
Okay.
Again, with the whole life, you'll have those guarantees. With the IUL, you do not. So the way you want to set it up is so that you have the least amount. You want to buy the least, because generally when people want those policies, they're more focused on the cash value buildups than the death benefit.
Gotcha.
So you want to buy the least amount of life insurance for the highest amount of cash value.
Least amount of life insurance for the highest amount of cash value.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and
Gotcha.
to offset it, you can add a term rider into it to make sure that you have enough life insurance that you need, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But essentially, that's the structure that you want to look at when you're looking at these policies. And so when you're looking at the policies and minimizing that death benefit for the maximum cash value, what you're doing is allowing your policy to grow over time, right?
Okay.
So with the crediting method on an IUL, it does use the performance of an index. I will say this: I'm not a huge fan of IULs because it's too unpredictable.
Okay.
It hasn't been around long enough, and there's agents who will absolutely disagree. That's why I tell people, like, when you're looking, do your research. Don't rely on one agent. I like facts and numbers. You don't have that with IULs, generally speaking. And again, one of my biggest concerns with it is that if you end up living too long, because it would be great, probably would work pretty great if you die prematurely.
Okay.
But long term is where I fear. And the reason, a lot of that just comes from my history with universal lives in general. The traditional history of how universal lives first started out was, like in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, well, up until to early 2000s, actually, they were pushing traditional universal lives. Like they were like crazy.
I remember that period where they were kind of pushing it really hard. Yeah.
And they I think they were crediting ridiculous amount, like 10% interest. Yeah, it was
Something
a crazy
like that.
amount of and so people were thinking that interest rates were, because back then interest rates were super high.
Right.
And they thought that was going to last forever, but then it didn't. And so all of a sudden, 15, 20 years later, people are getting letters in the mail from the insurance company saying, hey, if you want to keep your policy, you need to pay 3 times more, and then it's going to change every single year thereafter. Like,
wow.
Yeah, it just gets to be ridiculous. And so I've looked over a lot of policies with the traditional universal life policies, and I just personally feel like with the IULs, this is just another hype with not enough facts to back it.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that they won't work out long term. It is a possibility that it might.
Right.
But no one can say for sure that it will.
Okay.
And my concern is that what happens if people end up living too long? And that's where I'm hesitant on. I like the whole life approach a lot better just because you have those guarantees. The policy's not going to end up expiring on you or anything like that.
Right.
And it's consistent. It is consistent.
Okay. Okay, so I see. So now we know the difference between the whole life, the term, and the IULs. So, you know, if you're looking for consistency, you know, your choice may be the whole life. If you want to take a risk and kind of jump into some extra stuff, you might try the IUL.
I definitely just say, you know, make sure you do your research first
Right.
before you do anything. Talk to multiple agents, get their perspective. Because it's a lot easier to go over that kind of information when I have an illustration in front of me. That way I can point out the differences between the two.
Okay.
And that's for any agent.
So that's for any agent. Okay, so you can get an illustration. I've actually had one of those done before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, with
They're pretty cool.
Another agent.
Very complex, but
that I
it's
spoke
great.
with. Yeah, and I was just like, okay, that's great. It's pretty. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know. Most people don't, but, you know, I think it's so important to make sure that you absolutely understand your policy because at the end of the day, if you don't understand it, when you're not around, I doubt your family's going to understand it.
Right, exactly. So definitely want to make sure it's understandable. I would just, you know, like for me, I would have the insurance agent talk to me and like my kids.
Ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
and I
talk to all of us together so
Yes.
that way as I'm learning
love
it and
doing that.
understanding it, they're learning and understanding at
Yep.
the same time.
I tell people all the time, it's more important for your beneficiary to know what you have than it is for
Right,
you. You know?
exactly. Because it's like I can have it all in his head, but once I'm gone,
Yeah.
doesn't
You're
help
not gonna,
y'all.
Yep, you're not going to be able to speak for the policy anymore. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. Definitely. All right. So we're getting pretty close to our time here. So we're going to take our last commercial break and we're going to come back and talk some more with Brianna and a new project that she's working on. We're going to talk about that. All right. See y'all in about 2 minutes.
FireUp Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. FireUp Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Real men of real estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Boats, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Basically, go to the radio station KCAA radio.com.
You can find us on your dial at 102.3 FM, 1050 AM, as well as 106.5 FM.
Are you a real estate investor looking for a new opportunity in one of the top tourist destinations in the world? Look no further. Welcome to Punta Cana. Perla Bahia is a private resort-style community in Punta Cana that consists of modern condos, custom villas, and various commercial amenities. So if you're interested in learning more or joining us on one of our monthly investment tours, don't hesitate to contact me today at 909-494-2280. Alrighty, welcome back to the International Wealth Builders Association radio talk show. I'm your host, Latoya Tillett, here with my special guest, Brianna Prince. We're talking life insurance and protecting your assets. So before we went away, I touched on a little new project that Brianna is now working on. So I want her to tell you a little bit more about what it is, why it came about, and how you can join. Take it away.
Yes. All right. So what Latoya is talking about is a club that I started with a couple other members called the I3 Social Club. So it's an investment club. Our primary focus is to educate people on financial literacy and all things investing. So what we're going to be doing is putting together different workshops to help educate people on all different aspects, how to start a business, taxes, real estate, investing, life insurance, literally all different types of things that we're going to be focusing on. And the biggest benefit to joining the club is we're going to help put together a custom plan to help you get to $100,000 in investments within the next 3 years. So that's a huge thing. And so if you're someone who knows that, because I think a lot of people end up in this situation where it's like, I want to invest, but I don't know where to invest my money. Like, where do I even start, you know?
Exactly.
And so that's the type of information that you'll be getting from the club. So it's super exciting. I'm super excited to see how this progresses and grows.
Oh, nice. So speaking of that, we have one of our first workshops coming up on the 23rd.
Yes.
Is it a workshop? Or
no, it's a networking.
It's a networking
event.
But we'll have speakers. We will have speakers. And
who's one of our
truly will be one of your speakers. Because we're right here in the middle of tax season, so we got to talk about it. You don't normally want to wait until tax season to start talking about your taxes and everything. You want to do planning beforehand, but we can still talk about it because we're in the middle of it. There's a lot still going on. There's some changes and movements happening within the IRS and also within the state. I know there's certain state forms that haven't been updated in all the software, so people are having to wait. So there's really a lot going on in the tax world right now behind the scenes that most people aren't even privy to, don't even know, what's happening. And so definitely I'll be happy to speak about some of those things that are happening, some changes that you can see going forward for 2023. So getting yourself ready this year, throughout the year, so you can be ready to file in 2024. Just some helpful tips and tricks. I put out a video, was it yesterday or the day before? Maybe it was the day before yesterday, where I was talking about how people can save money on their taxes by hiring their kids.
Oh,
and it's like one of those little known, things
I've
for
definitely
most
heard
of
about
us.
it. Yeah, but,
we hear about it, but it's like, how do you do it effectively?
Right. Yeah.
And so that's definitely something you can think about, especially if you're a Schedule C entrepreneur or sole proprietor or independent contractor. Especially for my real estate agents out there, if you have kids, have them help you out. You could pay them up to $12,950 a year, and you don't have to pay taxes on that money, and neither do the children. They do have to be under the age of 18, though, for this to work. So, of course, there's a bunch of rules and everything that go around it, which could take us another about 2 or 3 days to get through. And like I was saying, too, I'm like, a lot of people have not taken the time out to read the 70,000 plus pages that make up the Internal Revenue Code.
That is insane. I can only imagine what kind of loopholes and stuff are in there with that many pages.
Yeah, you can find some things. And
I bet.
Yes, definitely. So hiring your kids is one of those little loopholes that you can find to avoid taxes for both you and them.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, it is not illegal to avoid taxes, and this is one thing I do want to make clear. So there's a difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion. So tax evasion is the actual illegal portion that you're seeing a lot of celebrities, they have gotten busted for. It's because they're not reporting, or their accountants are not reporting all of their income. Tax avoidance, on the other hand, we have the legal right to avoid or minimize our taxes due by any legal means that we could put our hands on. So you definitely can avoid taxes. You cannot evade them.
Yeah, so if you guys are wanting more information about this event, it's going to be on February 23rd. We will have, as LaToya mentioned, we will have a couple of speakers before our meet and greet, which is, not meet and greet, but it's a business networking event, which is at 6 o'clock. It's at the Epic Center in Rancho Cucamonga. If you want more information, you can go to meetup.com and go and type in I3 Social Club to find the information. You can also find us on Facebook as well, I3 Social Club.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just looking forward to the event. I'm really excited. And I get to talk about taxes. It's one of my favorite things. And talk about real estate, which is one of my other favorite things. So definitely, start talking about these international properties. You guys have to get in on the international. Do not sleep on investing internationally, because right now with the way prices are. I know you may see them teetering, trying to go down a little bit, but it's still not an easy market for people who want to invest. So it's still pretty difficult for people to get in. So, looking abroad and expanding your horizons can definitely give you more access to more properties for your money. So, if you have $300,000, you can probably buy 2 or 3 properties depending on which country you go into, as opposed to using that as just a down payment for something here in California. Or, even if you go out of state with $300,000, you could probably get an apartment building in Michigan or something like that. I know a young lady, she's actually selling investment properties out in Flint, Michigan. And it's really hot out there. We heard different things about Flint and what was going on with the water crisis and everything, but their investment market is really, really hot.
No way.
Yes, it is. Wow. It is. So, sometimes you got to look outside of your backyard to get the opportunities. And there's nothing wrong with going outside, building a volume, and then bringing the dollars back here to California if that's what you so choose to do.
Yeah, I've been meeting a lot of people who actually invest outside of California. Everything is so expensive out here, so they find it so much easier to invest in different states. Yes. It was crazy. I went to an event last week. I don't remember what event. I've been going to a lot of events lately. It's hard to keep track, keep them all together. Right. But anyway, almost everyone I met there was talking about, oh, yeah, I don't do anything in California. Everything's out of state. Wow. I'm like, wow. It's just impressive.
I know. I have another friend that's in South Carolina, and she was telling me about the deals they have there, on the new construction. They're half the price of, or less than half the price of new construction properties here.
No way.
Yeah, and it's you can get a big, beautiful, brand new home for about $240, $260, something like that. And I'm like,
definitely have heard that one.
Right.
Quite a number of times.
We haven't seen numbers like that since the crash in 2008. Okay, everything has just soared. We're over $500,000 in some of the areas that people used to consider cheap.
Yeah.
The Inland Empire. People move from LA to the Inland Empire because you can come out here and get the big, beautiful home for a little of nothing. And now that has definitely changed. Yep. So you're going to have to go further out.
Yep. Change states.
Right. You're going to have to change states or change countries. All right. So we are coming close to time. Brianna, tell the people where they can find you, how they can contact you to get more information or to set up a consultation with you.
Yes. So you can go to my website at trueleg.com. That's TRULEG.com. And just follow the instructions on the screen, book an appointment, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. I tell everyone at a minimum, just talk. Just if you have someone who depends on you for income, think about your situation. See if your family will be impacted if you were to pass away. If that answer is yes, just get a consultation. There's no obligation to you. It's free.
Oh, awesome. Nice. And so for more information on different tax tips and different ways you can save by incorporating some of the strategies that I put out there, you can follow my YouTube channel. And that's at Latoya Tillett. That's LA space capital TOYA. Last name Tillett, T as in Tom, ILLETT. So check me out there on YouTube. You can also email me at info@TillettRealtyGroup.com if you have any questions regarding the international real estate properties that we have available, and we can get that information over to you. Again, I want to thank my special guest, Brianna, so much.
Thank you
for coming to the show, having her first interview with me. So she was a little nervous, but I told her, we're going to get through that. So thank you again so much. And, again, I'm your host, Latoya Tillett. My Department of Real Estate number is 014-789-74. So reach out if you need anything, and we'll be talking to you guys again next month. Yay. Bye.
KCAA is your CNBC News affiliate. We're the station that gets down to business.
Last July, several GOP senators combined their 5-watt intellects to charge that inflation was rising because of, quote, insane tax and spending spree of President Biden and the Democrats. Never mind that the insane spending is for such sensible, productive, and enormously popular national needs as child care and jobless benefits, Mitch McConnell's rabidly partisan flock saw the chance to politicize the public's legitimate worries about rising prices. You poor consumers are made to pay more for basics, they squawked, because of Socialist Joe's investment in grassroots people. Follow the ricocheting pinball of the GOP's logic. 1, they say that helping hard-hit families induces them to refuse to go to work. 2, this creates blockages in the global supply chain. 3, this causes shortages of everything. 4, this forces corporate bosses to raise all prices, which 5, slams the middle class and poor. So 6, lazy workers cause inflation. Whoa! Rube Goldberg couldn't have dreamed up a more fantastical diagram to deflect attention from what's really happening, namely that instead of an inflation problem, we have a corporate greed problem. Of course, the greedmeisters insist that their pursuit of excess corporate profits has not driven any price surges. In our economy of free market competition, they